Minister Collins Chabane.
Well, what you heard and saw a little bit earlier were the sights and the sounds of the late Minister Colin Chabane, playing alongside a South African great as well, Don Laka. And of course, he shared the stage with the likes of Hugh Masekela, Salif Keita, and he could hold his own both in the political sphere and also in the arts industry. And I suppose it's for that reason and a host of others that thousands upon thousands of people have braved the Limpopo heat. It is a scorcher today. The sun is hot. It is also humid, but people have come in their droves and even started to make a makeshift overflow area here to try and get a glimpse of the final farewell proceedings of their beloved son of the soil. And the funeral procession, as I said earlier on in the broadcast, has started making its way to the particular arena where we are, the sports grounds here. It was scheduled to leave the graveyard at 8:30, and on time it is now here. The proceedings here, part 2 of the program, set to commence at 9 o'clock. So things running on schedule. As you can see at the moment, the motorcade bringing through the family and other dignitaries. There are other cabinet ministers, the colleagues of the late minister who have already arrived. We saw a little bit earlier Minister Lindiwe Sisulu. We also saw Minister Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula. They have already arrived, as well as a host of other dignitaries. Laymen alike, let me tell you, ordinary South Africans have converged. Members of the MKMVA singing and chanting struggle songs and dancing here in celebration of the life that was Collins Chabane. At 9 o'clock, the national anthem will be sung by the choir here, and that will officially begin proceedings. And speaking of things that will be sung here, my next guest here with me is someone who's a close friend, was a business partner, and who is also very instrumental in forming the Marula Festival together with the Minister Colin Chabane. So a love of music is something that they had in common. And let me tell you, even the mannerisms, because speaking to this gentleman a little bit earlier, you can see that quiet strength that exudes from Minister Colin Chabane, or did so, is very, very similar to the gentleman here next to me. I'm joined by Mr. Jonas Chipiwa Chikunda Malema. A very good morning to you, Baba. Thank you so much for your time during this difficult time for you.
Good morning. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak during this difficult time.
A friend to you, a business partner to you. Tell us a little bit about the man.
Look, he was a very humble man, very friendly. I think wherever we went to, he never took with him the post of a minister. He was just a mere human being who mingled with ordinary citizens. We spent most of our times in rural areas, visiting even people who had funerals together, and we will sit and without special attention. Most of the time we will even go to an extent of going to queues to get food with ordinary people, and that's Collins Chabane for you.
So you are in no doubt surprised at all by the outcome here and the turn up and the people who have arrived to bid him farewell?
Not at all. I think the number of times that we've traveled together, it has made me to realize that he's a man of people. We've been to South Sudan, we've been to Angola, and whatever you see at home here, we always had the same reception. He will not even want the formalities. He avoided formalities as much as possible. But he always stayed with people. he ate with them, and all the time when he had time, he would spend more time with them, trying to understand their predicaments.
He seemed like someone who was quite passionate about the African continent as well. You've just alluded to your travels on the continent. Earlier on in the interview, speaking to his band members, the movement, they spoke about how when he was in Zimbabwe, when he was in Zambia, when he was in such and such a place, he loved Africa.
He really loved Africa from the bottom of his heart. I think one of the things that I actually remembered, he once told me that he has never been to the United States of America. He has always traveled around Africa. And I mean, places like South Sudan, once he's there, he's like a brother. I think that's the Deputy President was saying. Each time when we were in South Sudan, we will even joke amongst ourselves because we had a lot of people around us, and we will say, look, it's because both me and you look like white people here, because our skin is not that dark compared to them. But he really enjoyed it. He's well respected. You'll be amazed at the number of people that are so concerned about what has happened to him now across the African continent.
Marula Festival, how did that come about?
It was more than 15 years ago when we were traveling around together, and I decided to start a Marula sort of a grouping where we will sit at the village and we'll invite people to come and drink. And I think after realizing that there were a lot of people who were coming there, and Marula being sort of a privileged drink, you don't buy it from shops, he realized that there was a need to start something similar to German Beer Festival, where we will have all South Africans coming to one place and have Marula as one of their natural drinks. And that's how we started. We had a lot of villagers coming year in, year out, until it grew to a provincial program.
So I have it on good authority that he was a keen golfer. We already know he was a musician and a politician, a struggle icon, but also businessman, it seems.
I'm not sure that much. He had not done business. I think he encouraged those of us who were in business to focus on what we were doing. And that's the space that he had afforded most of the people who were around him. Indeed, when it came to encouraging professionals, he behaved sometimes like he was an engineer himself, because whenever we spoke about engineering, he would be sitting next to us trying to explain even what we do. He loved aircraft investigation on one of the Discovery channels, and we will sit and he will explain. It was only then that I actually realized that he was actually an aircraft technician, but never had an opportunity to work on them.
What will you remember the most about your friend?
Look, I know that people have spoken about his humbleness and so forth, but the fact that we'll play golf and we'll have some incidents that are so interesting, and afterwards he will call and we'll just laugh about it over the phone. But I think one particular incident that I will never forget about it, it's when we did a 4x4 traveling together. We found a road that looked like a road, but it was actually a donkey track. And we went down the hills until we reached a point where we realized there was no way we'll go back. And he just said to me, just turn on this river stream. It turned up to be so sandy, and we got stuck because we found a tree that had fallen across that stream. And we had no other tools except our hands to remove sand behind the trees, the tires. And only to realize later that our hands were so swollen that we couldn't even eat that day. We struggled, but we kept laughing about it even this year when he reminded me of it.
It sounds like your typical guys will be guys adventure. Well, we send you condolences, and we thank you so much for availing yourself during this difficult period. As I said, thank you so much for joining us, a friend and partner who helped to start the Marula Festival together with the late Minister Collins Chabane, just sharing some of the memories that they had. We're going to take a quick ad break. As I said, the funeral procession has made its way here. We'll bring you the latest as and when it develops. Do stay with us.